Suddenly, there's car. And then magically a post show happened.
Insert jingle here.
Yes.
Yes.
Wavy lines, wavy lines, wavy lines, post show. Right. So,
Do you want to discuss our thoughts or go straight into answering that question?
I'm sorry, I lost you again there for a second.
Should we go to the question we left everyone on a cliffhanger on, or should we just go straight into just
immediate episode thoughts? I think.
Okay. I just want to say regarding this episode, one thing I did like about it is we've seen in previous episodes quite a few times that Eggman needs Sonic. Like without Sonic, he needs Sonic's, not because they're just like, even though they're enemies, you know, they need each other. But what I liked about this one was it showed that it works both ways, and like without Eggman, Sonic is bored and fidgety. So like even though they spend all their time just outdoing each other, you know, they like it really.
Yes, it's a codependent relationship.
Yeah, I did like that it showed Sonic was equally as codependent as Eggman is.
I especially like that it took that one step further and showed that for the sake of Sonic's friends, they needed that. They needed that. They needed that antagonism in their lives because otherwise it would be so much worse.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting relationship. I find it's one of the things when I first came on the show that appealed to me was the material that they had already come up with before I came on board. All the stuff with Eggman and the relationship with Eggman and between Eggman and Sonic was really just seemed like there was so much to mine there, so much comedy gold there between the two of them.
I mean, speaking of when you came on board, how much experience did you have with Sonic as a brand, and did you do any research on Sonic when you took the job?
Not really, because I'm a classic video game fan, so I have a lot of the older consoles. I have an Atari and a Intellivision.
Release go.
We've gone again.
Yes. So the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, I think, was my favorite because it was the comedy version, you know, with Urkel as Sonic. So yeah, I kind of knew some of this stuff, and then my partner in this, Evan Bailey, knows an incredible amount of this stuff. So he very often I might pitch something, and he would say, "I don't know if we want to do that. Sonic is this," and I would say, "Well, this is our version of Sonic," and I really stand by this that. The versions need to be different, otherwise there's no point doing it. If you're just going to make, you know, Sonic X over again or Sonic Underground, whatever one you're going to make, if you can just make it again, there's no point doing it. The DVDs exist.
Please do not remake Sonic Underground over again, please.
I will say that there is a reference somewhere in the series to Sonic Underground, but I won't say what it is. I don't want people to. I don't want the powers that be to pull it out.
Yeah, leave that in.
I snuck it in there, and hopefully it'll show up, and people will get it.
We like Easter eggs. Us Sonic
yeah, it really is. It really is an Easter egg because it's a very, very minor reference. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I've given this example in a couple of interviews now, so it's really nothing new. But there are so many different versions of Batman, and how do you go out and say, you know, Batman 1966, which was a complete camp comedy version, revitalized the entire superhero industry. And so if you say, well, Batman only has to be the Dark Knight, you would never have that, and you wouldn't have from 1966 into the 70s into Super Friends, all stems from Batman 66. You know, so you got to do different versions. Even today, there are so many different versions of Batman. There's Batman Beyond. Excuse me?
I was just saying Skype.
Skype crapped out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Well, it was a long list of Batman projects, so you can fill in all the blanks you want.
Yes.
But you know what I mean? And I think it's the same thing with Sonic. Also, you know, they came to me, and I'm a comedy guy, and the idea was that a lot of the networks weren't interested in doing a straight action show at that point in time. On Cartoon Network, certainly the action shows are Adventure Time and Regular Show, which are basically comedies that have action components. And so we wanted to do a comedy. And so from the beginning, there was always the risk that because it was a comedy, people would have problems with it.
I think it lends itself to that. As you suppose, it's funny in the way that you mention Batman after what we were just saying about the codependent relationship, because there is that with Batman and the Joker instance, and there is an instance of when Batman is believed to be killed, the Joker going sane, and then sort of going and trying to lead a normal life, only for Batman to rematerialise and for it to all to go insane again. So it's a very good parallel in that regard.
I think it's a very truthful thing, is that people hang on to their version. There are going to be kids who are growing up on Sonic Boom, and they're going to get a little older, be exposed to DVDs or Netflix, whatever, and they're going to watch Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and they're going to wonder where the hell Styx is, and it's going to seem wrong to them that Styx isn't in it. And that's the same phenomenon of people who grew up with Sonic not liking the changes. It's just what you're not used to something.
That's a very interesting. It's very. Sorry, Don. You go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, who is this Sally character? Who's that?
Is that Sega? Is that Sega asking that?
It would be the fans looking at these shows later on.
It's true though, but like any long-running franchise, it does have to evolve and change because
yeah,
and
different interpretations. Yeah, and like this. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying, and there can be missteps or things that are less popular or more popular, different versions of it, but you can't keep doing the same thing. Otherwise, don't do it. And so I think that's the case here, and I think that's certainly the case with Batman. Brave and the Bold is designed for kids. Some of the movies that they make are very dark.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they just did Batman Year One, which is kind of dark.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask a very quick question. You said something very interesting that, Sonic Boom could be that Sonic Boom could be some children's sort of first experience with sort of seeing Sonic, or indeed Bat. Have you actually received any kind of metrics about the age ranges that are actually watching the show?
On Cartoon Network, in our time slot, we're number one with boys 6 to 11 and 9 to 14. So kids are watching it, and we're beating out other shows in that demographic. We're number one in that demographic. So that's who's watching it.
Awesome.
Yep, I actually.
And us.
We got also the ratings for men, or for adults 18 to 49, and we have 1.1 million viewers every week in that demographic as well.
Wow,
that amazes me. I mean, it's just because the fact that so many like adults are watching it, especially considering how early it is in the morning. It just shows the strength of the show.
Yeah.
The fact that it can maintain this kind of audience even after taking a month off for the holidays and stuff, for them to easily get all this right back, it's impressive. It's very impressive.
Absolutely.
I mean, my goal always, I knew it was a kid's show, and the idea was to open this up to new fans. But my goal always was not to write down to the fans, was to write it smart enough. More so, not so much to lure in 49-year-olds, but so that the kids who love it now, as they get older, can still enjoy it. And then when they see the rerun or see it on Netflix, they can look at it and say, oh, I didn't even get that joke when I was 10.
Yeah. They don't grow out of it.
There is no escape.
I guess not, no.
There is no escape from the world of Sonic the Hedgehog and presumably Dungeons and Dragons as well. Okay, so yes, we're going to guys. Jamie, what did you think of the episode?
I liked it.
You can be honest. Just because I'm here, you can still be honest.
I hated it. No.
There you go.
No, I did like it. I think, especially because for me, the series at the beginning took a while for me to get into, and there were possibly some weaker episodes at the start. But it seems to be getting on. There seems to be a good ball rolling at the moment in terms of quality, in terms of jokes. I did like this one. I think this one and last week's one. I just liked. I like anything that shows the relationship between Eggman and Sonic. So, I feel like Cowbot was another good example of that as well. So yeah, I did quite enjoy this one, and Badger
Badger.
Badger the Sticks.
I have not done a long dirt work or anything. It's fine. And the only thing I remember, it was weird at the beginning. I complained that Sticks was a bit too crazy, but now she seems to be getting a bit more sane. I hope she gets a bit more out there again.
I believe there is an episode now listed on IMDb which is a Styx-centric, by the looks of things, episode. Hang on, we lost somebody.
Did we?
I believe so.
It's just the guest.
It's just Bill.
Oh no.
Gosh,
Bill,
darn it.
come back to us, please.
Bill. It's cause I said I didn't like some of the earlier episodes.
Oh, that's enough of that then.
Hashtag pray for Freiberger.
Be as honest as you want. Wait, no.
Bill,
wait, Bill.
Come back, Bill.
Dun, 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 dun.
Quick show beer.
I will now find this episode then while I'm waiting for this. Episode.
I'm back.
Ah!
Yeah.
We were just saying, like, when you said, like, be as honest as you want, and then I made a comment, and then you disappeared. I was like, oh, no.
I don't know what happened there. Hopefully it's a little better. What was the comment, by the way? Maybe I will leave.
Everything is awesome.
Yeah,
It's
not to quote that Lego thing,
no.
but no, good episode. I liked it.
There's one with Sticks coming up, which is closed door policy that we know of.
Yes.
There is another one which I now can't find, but it is specifically. Oh no, that's why, because it's on. Okay, it's on Bill's page, not on the actual Sonic Boom page for some reason. Which is "Don't Judge Me," which appears to be a Sticks-centric episode.
No, it's, Don't Judge Me is not a Sticks episode. It's an Eggman Sonic episode.
Oh,
Yep.
really?
How?
Believe it or not, this is going to be strange. This throws my assumption out the window, but it was the Fluffy Puppies episode that we heard about in Sonic Boom. No, yeah, in the event Sonic Boom.
Fuzzy Puppies. I think it's a really funny episode. It was an episode. I don't know who came up with it. It was Denton and Han and myself were kicking ideas around, and they might have brought it in. But it was a really, really late episode. But for some reason, they read it at the Sonic Boom event, and so people are expecting it. But it's really, really, really going to show up far down the pike.
IMDb, your listings suck then. This episode's got like Sticks right at the top, and Eggman, Orbot, Cubot, and then there's like the rest of the cast. But that's got that voice. That one has got Comedy Chimp in though. Apparently, because you're credited, so I'm assuming it is.
Oh yeah.
Actually, you and a new voice. You are the process server as well, apparently.
Yes. Oh, yes, I'm in Don't Judge Me, because the local, late night host would obviously be commenting on news events in his monologue, and that's what happens here. There's a news event, and the Comedy Chimp's monologue reflects that.
Fantastic. Also, that episode has got Fastidious Beaver in it for those of you who are Fastidious Beaver fans.
Okay. He's the jury foreman.
Ah. Oh.
I just love how he's been pretty much the cameo guy for a lot of the episodes.
Yeah, if you're interested in how television works, that's a perfect example of we needed a character for that first episode to be one of the guys online. And in one of the very late rewrites, we came up with him saying "actually" all the time, and then correcting grammar. And then it blossomed into this guy who, for no reason, there's an
Oh my god, Skype's now censoring.
Literally, Fastidious Beaver pops up in the window and stares them down and then disappears. We've just made it into this running thing that no one ever planned when it started. That's how your television evolves. You find the stuff that makes you laugh and you keep doing it. That's why Lady Walrus always says "my baby" now. Whenever you see her, something causes her to say "my baby."
Well, that reminds me. Yeah, that reminds me a lot of the like the old episodes of SpongeBob where you'd always hear that one guy going, "My leg."
Yeah, that's kind of what you want to do. You want to find this funny stuff that makes you laugh, and then just keep playing it to death until it's not funny anymore, and then get rid of it.
Then move on. Okay, so yeah, I mean, great stuff. Donnie, what did you think of the episode?
I liked it. I mean, it I don't know if it was as good as last week's episode. That was beautiful, but it definitely lived up to the hype. I was really looking forward to this episode, and I was not disappointed. So, also, I'm really glad we got to see everyone's houses in this one too.
Again, it's kind of funny because all of their houses were designed in the initial design pack. The plan was always to have their houses, and we had their houses in a lot of them. And the randomness of the way they're getting finished and airing, there are certain things that I just assume to be givens that really haven't happened yet, that we haven't seen all the different houses. Because in a lot of the episodes, they take place in the houses. But for some reason, the way the episodes are popping up, certain things are clumping. Like the fact that we had 2 Styx episodes in a row early on was complete random chance. It wasn't any kind of planning on our part to do it. It's the same thing here. We have the whole village that we explore, and we have all kinds of stuff. Medburger is something that is huge in this show as we get further and further into it.
Yeah, like why we haven't got any Knuckles household yet, unless he does live on the beach with his weights.
He does, actually. Knuckles is the only one that doesn't have a house.
Oh,
that's the truth. Well, he's like kind of a wanderer. He goes where he goes. He wanders in nature. So Knuckles doesn't have a house, and Sonic has this beach shack where he kind of hangs out, although in the first episode, for some reason, he's sleeping on Knuckles' couch. That was, for whatever reason, it was just have the two of them together. But Sonic has a shack. Amy has a lovely, kind of silly house. Styx has an underground burrow. I mean, and Sonic has this beach house because he's just a beachcomber, and Knuckles is just a happy wanderer. So their houses really reflect who they are, and it'll be funny as these things start to show up more.
I almost hope in a way that we get the birdhouse joke as a running thing, and then we find out some way down the line that actually Knuckles lives in a giant one of those birdhouses. That'd be fantastic.
I don't want to burst your bubble.
I do kind of have to wonder what would ever happen if Knuckles somehow, if, I don't know, through some long lost distant relative who happened to die and he inherited like a big giant stately home.
You know what? I will say that we have had luck, more so than I would have expected, doing really down the middle tropes and then just spinning them a little bit. So certainly Knuckles inheriting a house. I mean, the traditional silliest version of that is he inherits a house from his uncle and it's haunted and he has to sleep in the haunted house. It happened in Costello. But yeah, I mean, we have had a lot of luck with very down the middle stories, so maybe that's a good season 2 story.
Oh, that is just beautiful. Seriously, where is this episode? I want to watch it now.
I want my name in the credits. No, not serious.
Okay. Jono, what did you think?
I thought the episode was fantastic, actually. Having sort of come off of another really strong episode last week in, I forget the name of it now, I feel awful.
Meteor.
Yeah, the Meteor, which was, classic body swap episode. I love those kinds of things. And going into yet another one, which is all about Eggman, who I love. I just found it. I don't know what I'm saying. It was great. Is all I can say.
Tom.
Yes. Right. Well, what more can I say that everyone else hasn't yet? pretty much just the whole concept of just the community and seeing the characters interact with each other. To see how Sonic is reliant on Eggman, and Eggman's sort of relying on Sonic, but when the chemistry starts falling apart, everyone starts seeing that they need this stability. So no matter what happens, they're going to have to do something to make sure this flow is continuous. And also, it's nice to have a look at some of the smaller details. Like if we go back to Amy's house, you can see on the shelves, as I mentioned earlier, there's a picture of her, well, Amy just by herself, and the one next to it is a picture of Amy and the whole team, as well as Styx. And another picture that we've seen in the previous episode, Dude, Where's My Eggman, is the picture of the penguin in the sweater. It's just nice to see that the whole chemistry of the show has been going so strongly so far, and that things that you've seen in previous episodes and we'll see in future episodes still exist, rather than the original idea that continuity completely resets itself.
Yeah, I would.
Sorry, go ahead.
I would say people have been quoting, and it's not really true, the idea they're not. Things that happen have bearing on other episodes, in the future. It's just that because it's a comedy, we return to the status quo. It doesn't mean that if we introduce a new character, he's then gone. He's now part of the world. A lot of the stuff that we introduce becomes part of our world. It's just that it's not serialized. So when we say that it always resets at the end, people have been taking that, I think, a little too literally.
Like Tanner, one of our colleagues.
So Tanner is expecting to be reappearing in one of the future episodes. So.
I will say this: the Tanner character.
that alone just made his day.
There is a version of him, because sometimes there are different versions. Like it's almost like a species of character, because of different animal types. There's another character who's a producer, who is basically the same model, who also looks like Tanner. So Tanner will have two characters that are like him.
Okay. New section of the commentaries called Tanner Watch.
Tanner Generations coming soon.
Tanner the producer and Tanner the photographer's assistant.
So did that character actually have an official name, or was it just whatever?
Photographer's assistant.
Just photographer's assistant.
Well, I expect he's probably going to be called Tanner now.
Maybe we will. It's one of those things where there's a utilitarian or need for a character, and the character is the photographer's assistant. The character is the janitor, or whatever it is, and you write him into a script, and that's who he is. He's that. But then, as you start using him more, eventually you need to give him a name and a personality and expand his world. And that's what will probably happen with...
You've heard it here, folks. Tanner is officially Tanner.
Existed in a whole life up until that moment. He should be Dave the Medburger employee, because he's that 90% of the time. He was the intern in only one episode. But for some reason, we thought Dave the Intern was a funny name. And he is now forever Dave the Intern, even though he's the Medburger cashier.
Fantastic. Okay, so yeah,
and a lot of that stupidity is just because it makes me laugh. It's like I think that calling him Dave the Intern is funny.
I'll stick with Dave the Intern because it is just funnier that way. Hey, if it makes you guys laugh, it's going to make us laugh.
That's what I try and figure. I never want to say, you know what, that doesn't make me laugh, but I know those people in the audience are going to love it. I always like to do what I think is the best quality thing and the funniest thing and the thing that makes me laugh. And a lot of times I'll fight for that, for just, no, it's a funny joke. It's funny to do it this way. And people say, well, I don't know if the audience is going to get it. And I have faith that the audience will get it. I'm not one of those guys who's cynical and we got to write down because the audience is dumb. I don't believe that at all. I think the audience generally is pretty smart. That said, I sometimes read these comments and I'm amazed that simple plot points often are confusing to people.
What was the name of that site again?
What site would that be?
Well, the site you mentioned, you read those comments. What was the name of that again?
Oh, I'm not mentioning any sites.
So if anything, if season 2 does get confirmed, who knows? Maybe we will have another member of us lot appear as a sub-character. Yeah. Who knows?
An obnoxious group of people commenting on things and criticising things.
It will be a TV show Eggman watches.
Yeah, as far as I know, Tanner copied the show. The show first, and then Tanner showed up.
Are you going to do a copyright claim on his DNA?
The character's not based on Tanner. Tanner is based on the character.
Absolutely.
As far as I can tell.
Send Tanner a DMCA takedown notice.
Yeah, can I just say that your version of Tanner is much better written?
That's Canadian.
Oh dear. Well, you can no longer monetize Tanner, Jamie. I'm sorry.
That means I have to take his place. Oh, such a shame.
Oh dear. Right. All right. So yes, going back to the Rob line of question, which is which Sonic Show members that we'd switch bodies with. Any of you guys, who would you want to switch bodies with?
I have an answer.
You have an answer. You're very quick with that, Jamie.
Because I've had a long time to think about this. Donnie. Easily Donnie.
Why?
Silent Hill appearance.
Why?
And I'll tell you why, Kevin. Thank you for asking. I would like to swatch bodies with Donnie so I could just fix his life for him, basically. I would give him a shave. I would buy him more dressing gowns and things. I would invest in a better web camera.
Please do.
And I would buy him an alarm clock so he can turn up for things on time. So he's not late for commentary episodes.
For people that aren't familiar with Sonic shows stuff, anytime we have Donnie on camera, he does look incredibly tired with his long, luscious red beard. But for some reason, his webcam does look like he is broadcasting permanently from Silent Hill, and it actually freaks us out slightly, because we just think there's some kind of Japanese horror going on, and eventually he's going to come and get us.
Donnie is now in Fatal Frame 3. Coming soon.
Just imagine that my Skype avatar just is lurking in the background when that webcam is being displayed, and just makes it even worse. So I mean,
Five Nights at
Donnie's.
Donnie's.
Fever.
So yeah,
Right.
I would choose Donnie.
You would choose Donnie.
I would also write very inflammatory articles on TSZ.
Oh, inflammatory D.
First at TSC, you all suck.
Right, so anybody else?
Yep.
Yep.
I have two choices, actually.
You can only choose one.
You choose one. Pick one.
Oh,
Pick
cursed.
now.
This is now you put me on the spot here, because my two choices would have been either Jono or Tanner. Do I go for statues or let's plays? I actually probably would go for Tanner. Sorry, Jono.
Your statues are meaningless.
No, not that. Nothing like that.
I was going to say no offence taken, but offence taken.
No, let me explain why.
No, it's too late. You can't explain why now.
Please, don't leave me. No, but basically the reason I say Tanner is mainly because ages ago when we did do the Versus Let's Plays, me and him have sort of had a rivalry going on. And obviously it seems more logical to have a rival as something that we've done more mainstream-wise that people are aware of.
So your reason for being Tanner is that way that you'll win either way?
Yeah, more or less.
Right, okay. Okay.
You said it better than I could have even attempted.
Any of you others have one? Somebody you'd want to swap?
Should I kick in on this?
Oh yeah, by all means.
Oh.
Although, God knows which one why you'd want to switch with one of us. But there we go.
Oh yeah.
If I said I'd want to switch with Donnie because then I would block people from the DSSC forum, I would have that power. Is that
Wow.
I like how everyone who wants to be me basically just wants to screw TSSE. So
Well,
yeah. Everyone wants Donnie because he has the power. He has the community power now.
Yeah.
You have the power.
Oh, we've
about
lost
you,
Bill
Kevin?
again. He's said his piece and he's going.
Oh god, he's going to take over TCC.
There we go, he's
there we go.
Here I am.
about you,
Every time there's something going on that's a little odd, I get cut out. I disappear.
Every time the conversation gets heated.
It was great. It was great though, Bill, because it was like mic drop and then gone. Right. Okay. Jono.
I believe in free speech. I wouldn't really block people.
Yeah.
Jono.
He said.
Yes. You're probably waiting for my character, aren't you? Believe it or not, wouldn't mind trying swapping with Miles.
Ah, Miles, who has not yet been on one of these. Or has he been on one? I can't remember.
He has been on one.
He has been on one, yes.
It's been on one.
Most elusive of them all.
Sonic
Many-
Show News.
Mainly because he has a great grasp of comedy, which is something I do not have at all. So I wouldn't mind being able to edit awesome stuff together like he does.
Okay.
That was boring of me.
No, it was a well thought out and reasoned answer.
Much
Only
better than
slightly
mine.
boring.
Yeah. Donnie, did you have anybody?
I guess I'd swap with John on the basis alone that I could clearly say that I own all of the merchandise ever, and then I can take over Jazzwares or something.
Good luck
It
with
doesn't
that
work for
one.
Jazzwares.
Well, Jazzwares doesn't even have the Sonic license anymore, so...
No.
Exactly, so you can take over and
And make nothing.
It's
yeah.
alright. It's alright. First Figures owns...
Incidentally,
No, I didn't say that.
You can make the Tanner statue that's in the Sonic Show, in the Sonic Show intro, and make it an actual thing.
Or you can speak to Nintendo and get them to make that Tanner amiibo, which is on the Facebook page.
Or
Pink-
go to First
pink-
Figures and ask them for a statue.
Pink gold Tanner.
What would the exclusive version be of the Tanner statue?
Yeah,
Swap
with
out
some
hats.
graffiti on it.
Yes. There you go.
Coming soon to Mario Kart 8, Pink Gold Tanner.
Oh god.
I love how it's pink gold, not just regular gold.
For those that are interested in mine, I would swap with Tanner, just because I then have a job, and then
Tanner doesn't have a job. Tanner doesn't have a
I
job.
thought he did. I thought he was working at BioWare.
No, that was his summer.
That was a summer job.
Oh, summer job. Oh,
You can still
screw
change
that
with
then.
me. You can change with me. I've got a job.
No,
Hello.
I've changed my mind. I'll stick with me because
I-
nobody picked me.
Because
so
I'm
not gonna
such
stick
an
with me.
unviable option, aren't I? Oh my
How do you think I
god.
feel? Didn't get picked either.
I have a beard.
I have a job. At least I'd still rather be unemployed
Yes,
than
but
be
then,
Jamie.
but then my name would be Eggman, and I'm not so sure I'd be able to carry it off as well as you do.
What about being me then? You could be me.
Moving on.
Oh, thanks.
Oh,
My heart. I wanna try that.
Tom, nobody could replace you, Tom. Therefore, I would hate to even try.
Oh,
There
not
we
sure
go.
if I should take as compliment or insult.
Take it as a compliment.
Okay.
So we've been doing Facebook quizzes.
Yes, because if you go
Talking
on
of being people.
if you go on the Facebook Sonic page, and wow, is that what it looks like now? So I'm just looking at that really weird because I set that up so many years ago. I actually created that page, and it's just
like it-
weird to look at it now. Just how much it's changed. If you go on there, there is actually a choose. I'll determine which Sonic Boom character are you. It's like all the rest of the ones you've seen on the internet, but it's slightly official. So we've gone through it. I don't know if Bill, if you want to just give that a try, if you've not done so before.
He's like, nah, I'm good.
What's that? What do you want me to try here?
Go to Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Sonic. I believe it's
I
/Sonic.
have actually pasted it into the chat.
Ah.
Just click that link, yeah.
Yes, and there is a subsection app, which however you like to call it. It's called "Which Sonic Character Are You?" Now, we've gone through it.
It's a well-built song.
Donnie, what character did you get?
I got Tanner. No.
No.
I got Sonic.
You got Sonic.
Oh, of course you did. Of course you did. You have to be in charge of everything. You have to be the leader of the franchise. Typical.
He's going to.
I
Have
can't.
it all, Donny. fine.
He's going to weave his beard into some kind of neckerchief now, and everything's going to be fine.
Oh, his beard
Beard
is
scarf.
chief.
Tom,
I got sticks.
you got sticks.
Oh my god.
Oh, Jamie,
I also got sticks,
you got sticks.
which is a total injustice, but whatever.
It could be Knuckles if you want.
Jono,
I got Dr. Eggman.
you got Dr.
Aw.
Eggman.
Yes, I know. I got Dr. Eggman.
I want to be Dr. Eggman. That's my
You
name.
are Eggman.
Well, tough.
You're obviously not evil enough, or at least not evil in the correct way.
Kevin, who did you get?
I may have also got sticks.
So is it safe to say that we're gonna have to rename this channel the Sonic Sticks?
The Stick Show would make more sense, but yeah, we'll call it the Sonic Sticks instead. So we're all slightly off the rails there.
Oh dear.
Oh my goodness.
Bill, do you have a result? Or
No, I didn't take it. I found the choices were not really three-dimensional enough for me to answer honestly.
Who would you
Political
want?
answer.
Who would you relate
And-
most to out of the
Comedy,
that's a
comedy
good question.
chimp.
comedy Jim? Yeah.
Do you find that you've got the same sort of inner voice as that character then?
Actually, I think I said this in an interview. The character I see myself as being closest to in terms of personality is Styx.
Is Styx.
Yes.
Everyone turns out to be Styx, with the exception of Jono, who's now the bad guy,
And me
No.
who's Sonic.
and you, Sonic.
Yeah.
There's an
I
interesting show.
have the same survivalist, paranoid, not distrust of the government kind of thing that Styx does. That's the author's message. When Styx talks, that's me talking.
Actually, can I just bring something up that I've seen quite common in the comments sections of most of the commentary so far?
if it's
regarding
tasteful,
characters.
yes.
Yeah, it's only one word needs to be brought up here: shadow.
Yes.
Yeah, what about Shadow?
We should.
Okay. Loads of people have asked, will Shadow potentially appear in the series whatsoever? Obviously, I know that since anything regarding him may or may not appear, you can't be too specific, but have you ever considered having an episode that had Shadow in it? Or appear at least?
Let me give you the most political answer possible here. Were Shadow to be in an episode of Sonic Boom, Sega would consider that a very important moment and would want to reveal it in their own way. They'd want to make a big deal out of it were such a thing to exist. And therefore, I can't comment on whether it exists or not.
In a completely unrelated question,
Yes?
are there any two-part episodes within this series?
Not in the first season.
Not in the first. Okay.
And I wish we had done some, but there were formatting issues that precluded it because we didn't know how the episodes were going to go together. We didn't know in the earliest stages if there would be two in one half hour or like they're doing now, a new and an old. We didn't know how it was going to work, and so we steered away from doing anything longer than individual episodes because we just didn't know if it would just screw up the whole thing.
So
Very
no, but you're not against it technically.
I'm definitely not against it. If there's a second season, there probably will be two-parters.
Yeah.
Now that we've got our sea legs on this thing.
Interesting.
Now the real question is that we probably won't get an answer is what pray tell could there be that could end up in a double-parter?
It
It could be
It's
any.
not even that I want to keep that from you, is I have no idea at this point. I will say that I've been on shows, and a lot of times someone pitches an idea, and we start breaking it down, and they say, this would be a great two-parter. Let's make it a two-parter. And by the end of the whole discussion, several days later, it's no longer a two-parter. Because you get overly excited. It happened on Greg the Bunny. In fact, it happened on Drawn Together. And Matt and Dave, the creators of Drawn Together, when I said, this happens all the time. You get all excited, and you want it to be a two-parter, and then you realize it's not a two-parter. And we made the episode. They made the episode a two-parter just to spite me.
I was going to mention to Drawn Together actually about that, saying that obviously you mentioned earlier you've worked on that particular show, which I personally enjoyed.
Yeah, that show was. Oh,
Unique.
I love that show.
With the way these commentaries have gone, I wouldn't even be surprised if somehow in some way there was a musical episode and it just turned into this giant two-parter.
No, we don't. No, we don't want the musical episode anymore.
Oh, we don't now.
No, no. The musical episode has become such a running gag amongst the team. It seems. It seems we no longer want the musical episode. Oh no, because the idea of a musical episode would mean that it surprised me that voice actors wouldn't want a musical episode, because that then encourages the possibility of some kind of soundtrack CD being produced, which they would then get royalties for. So on that basis that they don't want that, I think we should now campaign for a silent movie episode.
Black and white.
Episode where they don't talk at all. It's all in black and white, and we actually get narration via by pop-ups, by also silent movie pop-ups with like piano music playing all in the background, and perhaps we get Knuckles tying sticks to a railway line or something with a big moustache.
I will say there is no silent movie episode.
There's no silent movie episode.
Oh.
And the actors
Curse you,
rejoice.
Freiberger!
There's no silent movie episode.
There's no silent movie episode. So a silent TV episode, guys. That's a shame.
I'm amazed that the word you picked up on in my clue was the exact wrong word. There's a movie episode coming. There's a movie episode coming.
Ooh.
Will be marathons.
Oh, dear.
And then it just turned like the movie episode is just Knuckles is trying to film himself like for 2 hours.
It's a found footage episode.
Yeah, it's a found footage episode.
Oh god.
No, it's not a found footage.
No,
So like the internet would turn that one comment upside down. Oh dear.
if any comment they turn upside down. What are you talking about, Tom?
The fact, mention movies. And
Oh god, yeah. Well, technically, actually, we've still got at some point this movie to occur, because this is a non-boom thing, but at some point,
at some point,
Sony are going to do this movie, or maybe not.
I know nothing about the Sony movie. I know what you know. It's completely separate. It's a completely different thing.
Also to confirm, Sonic won't be appearing in the Avengers. I know Sony have been negotiating rights-related things, but Sonic was not a part of that. So somebody will.
You'll be in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, along with Rocket Raccoon.
Guardian of the Galaxy 2 via a wisp. He'll be in there. Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo.
Oh dear. Right. Does anybody have any other questions for Bill whilst we have him here and have him? Well,
I was going to say
loosely attached to us by Skype.
Kevin, you was going into your David Attenborough.
No, I wasn't.
It's just how I just went. And any other questions?
I think that's your phone. That's my throat, which has somehow lasted so far. Anybody got any questions about how everything? Okay. Actually, I've got a question. Of the episodes so far, Bill, which has been your personal favourite?
Oh, they're all my babies. Let's see. Which one do I really like? I'd have to look. You know what? I'd have to look at a list because I have all 52 in my head. I don't remember which ones have aired.
By any chance, would it be Buster?
Cowbot.
Cowbot, yes.
Cowbots.
I have some issues with Buster, as other people do as well. So it wouldn't be Buster, but it's probably Cowbot.
Would you go into details on what your issues with Buster's episode?
No, I can't.
No. Fiddlesticks.
Yeah, that would mean invoking Buster any further than it is currently, so I don't think we should. But it says a lot actually that when I know we on this rattle on about Buster a lot, but that's only because out of the show so far, which have been of a very high quality. I think it's just the one that's not as high a quality, if that makes any sense. So it sort of sticks out a little bit.
About the Gogaba one though.
Oh, not the Gogaba. Stay away from the Gogabas as well.
The Gogaba one is my wife's favorite episode. I find that episode absolutely hilarious as well.
Really?
So, it's interesting that no one seems to have liked it, because I actually think it's a really funny episode.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think us guys actually should do our, because when we hit episode 15, we should do our personal top 3 at some point, so far, because I know it does vary actually quite a lot. I think between us, apart from maybe the number 1. So it'd be interesting to do that. Ah, dear. And so what? I want to sort of bring it back a little bit to the comic. Obviously, you could, issue 5 is yours. Can we expect any further issues from you in the future? Is there one scheduled?
There's not another one scheduled right now because of Worlds Unite is a big block of episodes. Then there's another set of episodes by Ian Flynn. Then there are 2 Denton and Hahn issues, and there's my son did an issue. So that takes us almost a year out. But I have been writing the off panels for a lot, so my name's going to be in a lot of the upcoming issues. But I don't have another story until probably, we haven't even talked about me doing a second one. But if I do, it'll probably be a year from now.
And when that does happen, we look forward to it. We expect Tanner to do a perfectly good review on it and give you all comments.
Yeah, because he's reviewing the comics now on Sonic Show, so that'll be interesting.
At least we. No, I was just say, at least on the basis of all the news we had, at least it's good to say that Sonic Team's still working on console games. So even during the off time between episodes, people have stuff to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And one day there'll be a season 4 of Drawn Together.
And one day these will become the actual DVD commentaries of Sonic Boom. Oh, heaven help that day.
You can buy copies of it soon on Amazon.
So I'm actually pretty happy with the comic book. I've been having a lot of fun working. I've wanted to do comic books for a while because I'm kind of a comic book fan. I was really happy to have the opportunity. I love the way it came out. I would like to do another one. It's a whole different world for me. It's a lot of fun.
If just on top of the comic books, are there any particularly series that you do follow or that interest you in the comic world?
It changes from time to time. Again, my interest always was Sonic is a good example of the comic book I wanted to do because I would love to do the comic books based on cartoons, which is really a lot of what I read growing up. And I also kind of like more of the off characters, I'm trying to think. In some in the DC world, I would always go more toward Justice Society than Justice League. Yeah. I liked that weird older kind of thing. Is something I like. I'm trying to think. I haven't been reading anything too much recently because I find a lot of the comic books are getting very involved. We have to really buy a lot of them. When they do these publisher-wide crossovers and stuff.
The events.
I find it just becomes too involved. I don't have the time to be reading every issue of every comic Marvel puts out. So, and I was in the comic book shop the other day, and there was just a whole wall of Batman. There were so many different Batman titles, and I don't know which one I want to start getting involved with. Maybe I need to follow the creators more, pick the writers I like, and just stick with those. But I really like to me, the dream would be to write a Flintstones comic.
Really?
That would be really fun to me.
Is anyone writing a Flintstones comic at the moment?
No, I don't think they are right now.
I think
but that kind of thing.
I think the Flintstones have just gone literally under the radar after so long.
There's an audience.
There's also a new Flintstones cartoon that is coming out, which I believe is a WWE crossover of all things.
Oh, yes.
Flintstones and WWE.
I don't want to write that comic book.
Greg Hahn would, but I don't think anyone else
would. Yes, he would love it.
Greg
Hahn loves wrestling.
Wow.
In fact, he pitched a wrestling episode of Sonic that we ended up not doing.
Aww.
There's always season 2.
I don't think. No, actually, I'm not. Well, he may have to be careful of that because there is wrestling history with Sonic X, isn't there, guys?
Yeah, with Eggman as Egg Mysterio, wasn't it?
El Gran Goro.
Oh,
this is Dr. Eggman's luchador alter ego at one point. So there's history there.
I suppose.
Yeah, we wouldn't do that.
Yeah. But actually, that was what I wanted to go back to with Sonic X. Actually, was the reason I asked you about sort of if you had background or did the research, and it was great that you and the team had that knowledge. Was that the team for X and the person in charge of X very specifically didn't know anything about Sonic, and more importantly, decided that he didn't need to know anything about Sonic for localizing a show that was entirely based on the games, which was an interesting point of view to take from a producer. So it's great to know that you guys have that background.
We do, and I think a lot of times when we deviate from that background, it's a conscious decision to do so. I make choices that I think will work for our version, and but I'm mindful of what else is going on. That's why we certainly, if we're not going to, like, it was a very specific choice to adjust Amy's character to not be a stalker, and to kind of keep Son Amy alive, but in a way that was not making her crazed, and I think a little misogynistic interpretation of it.
It's that I think the relationships between all the characters are very nice and much more organically shown than they have been in previous media, including the games, actually, I would say. Job done there, I would say. Bill,
thank you. Yeah, because that was really important to me to get that kind of stuff right. To me, that's more important than fixating on a specific. To get the tone right and the feel of it right. Because I'm there, there's no way that you can. Again, there's no way you can do it exactly the same as it's been done and have it be different and unique and surprising.
Yeah.
That was the thing. The other thing that's amazing to me is how upset people were about Knuckles' new look. It's like you can like it, you can not like it. You can say, "Oh, he looked better before," but the knee-jerk reaction to different bad, I think, is problematic.
Bill, to give you an example, Sonic and the Black Knight. For a long time ago, when I was working at Sega and things, Sonic and the Black Knight, we weren't ready to actually announce that game. The cover of Nintendo Power went up, which showed Sonic with a sword. And there was no context to it at all. There was no context to it at all. It was just like the blank image there was the actual, like, somebody's photo of their copy, which they got like ridiculously early for some unknown reason, and it nearly killed the game. Was the reaction? It was so negative, and it was, again, it's that knee jerk that different is wrong. Sonic with a weapon is considered obviously very wrong. I think a lot of that's due to the legacy with the Shadow game, but it's kind of anything that's not generic classic, or at least tied to that in some way. But there is that reaction, and it is normally just very, very violent for whatever reason.
I agree. I think that it's unfortunate because if you don't like it, I think you should look. I mean, if you look at it and you assess it and you don't like it, you don't like it. But it's like, oh my God, why is Knuckles on steroids? People kept saying it to the point where it sounded like it was an actual thing, like we had actually given Knuckles steroids.
We may have done a video thing about that.
But you know what I mean? It's like, again, I don't mind. People should like what they like and not like what they don't like. But there is an element of at least being open-minded. An example for me, again, I keep going back to Batman. I was really unsure of Gotham. I said, why would you want to watch Batman without Batman? And I started watching Gotham, and I just can't wait for the next episode now. I think they really do a great job, and I think it's Batman without Batman seems to be working out pretty well. I don't know if you guys watch it.
I've not watched it myself, but I've had people tell me originally that had mixed views, saying, "Oh, well, it's as you said, it's not got Batman, so there's no point watching." And other people said, "It's nice to watch because it explains the story before he became the Batman, but after the tragic events that occurred." So it's nice to see that middle line of what evolved into it.
It fills in the gap that hasn't really been touched on before properly. I mean,
Right.
as soon as Bruce Wayne puts on that bat suit in for that series, that series is done. That is it, and that you're building up to that point. You know the end, and you know the beginning, and it's the journey in between that you're unsure of, and the origins of all these characters. So it's
it's a very interesting thing. That guy is going to be the Riddler, but he's not the Riddler yet, and it really is an interesting way to explore it. But my first instinct was, but I wanted to give it a shot, and I ended up liking it. And I think hopefully with Sonic Boom was all these people were panicking based on a character design. And I mean, if we had the old Knuckles character, we have the new Knuckles. I think the new Knuckles kind of looks better in CG. I think the new Sonic looks better in CG. And I know there was this issue with the color of Sonic's arms, but
that's why I mentioned the eyes earlier.
yeah.
Oh dear.
But the thing about Sonic's arms is with the new character design, the arms matching his belly made it look like he was wearing this wrestling outfit. And the reason for changing the color was just that because with the new design, blue arms were in fact better for this particular design. It wasn't about changing everything about Sonic. And there was a lot of discussion about it. People didn't do it willy-nilly. There was a lot of talk about whether we should do it, should we do it, what looks better. And the decision was made that it did, for this design, look better and work better. So we went with it. And I think that to just immediately say that he doesn't have blue arms or Knuckles shouldn't be that big or the tape, it's my job to make fun of stuff. So I know about making fun of stuff. I just think there was it was more than just cracking jokes. It was just this brick wall that came in to not want these things to be any different than they were 25 years ago.
I think there's a difference between making fun of it or just thinking it's silly, and then just having this unrivaled hatred for any change, which is just I find quite worrying as a characteristic. But
it is very odd because they always say the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is apathy. And so these people who, I mean, maybe they just enjoy complaining. I don't know.
Yes.
But if you really don't like it, just don't look at it. It's not like you have to, print out the picture of giant Knuckles and pin it on your wall over your bed and look at it every. You don't have to look at it if you don't like it. I hope enough people do like what we're doing, and because I want people to enjoy it, and you want to bring happiness into the world. I don't want to be getting people all riled up and ruining. I don't know how many times I've seen a comment, "You've ruined my childhood," based on the fact that we changed the way Knuckles looks, and I just feel like, unlike when I was a kid, you can still go back and get the comic books of Knuckles that you like. You can go back and get the versions of the show you like. You can go back and play the games you like.
Another thing I find,
skip over my cartoon, and your life will be just the same.
I was going to say, the one thing I find interesting about that and you see a lot of these things get brought back, like not just with Sonic Boom, but you see other kids' TV shows get brought back.
A lot of reboots at the moment.
Reboots and things.
Like Thunderburst, for example.
And exactly, and that is a comment you see a lot, like, "Oh, you've ruined my childhood." But I think the point they miss is it's not for them, it's being brought for a new audience of kids who are now going to start watching Sonic or being introduced to this brand for the first time. Not necessarily.
It's the old discussion, isn't it, that we had, because it was the same when X came out, and the fan base was up in arms, and it's like all these new fans were coming in, and all the old fans were like, "Don't get out," and it was just all these kids, and it was a new generational thing, and it was a new introduction, as Bill was mentioning earlier, and that there are fans coming in. It's for the age group that it is, and again, it's the old discussion of that it's always really been for that age group, and it's going to be their first foray into Sonic, and Sonic has to evolve.
Yes, and hopefully we're giving people stuff that they like. I mean, nothing could be 100%. And I know even in a given episode, people can have a joke they like or a joke that they didn't think landed properly. I watched some of these episodes, and there was things that still bother me. And I said, I wish I caught that. I wish I'd fixed that. I mean, it happens all the time. There are things. It's. I watch the whole episode, and I focus on that one. I should have caught that. I should have fixed that. We didn't have time or whatever. So I watch it, and there are things that bump me. So certainly there should be things that bump the audience too, but it's the overall field. Overall, do you like it? Overall, do you want to watch the next episode?
Well, I can vouch for all of us here that we do want to watch the next episode. I think it's pretty much universally agreed that the TV show, whatever you think of the Boom sub-branch, sub-series, reboot, design, whichever way you want to call it, I think everyone agrees that the TV show is at the top of the tree when it comes to quality, and a great representation of how Sonic can be meaningful and relevant as a brand today.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, we try really hard. Everyone here, everyone in France, everyone in Japan and South Korea, really. I mean, no one wants the thing to be bad, which is like kind of sometimes the fans think, oh, they're just ruining it. I would love to take certain fans and say, okay, you be in charge. Let's see how many mistakes you make. Let's see how many things you get right. And hopefully, if you hit 80%, you're doing good. You know, it's never going to be 100%, but people always think the boss doesn't know what he's doing, but there's a reason he got to be the boss.
Nobody sets out to make a bad.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And sometimes maybe people aren't talented enough. You know, hopefully my team is, but
it goes back to the whole thing that, you know, you can try your best for everything you do, but you know you won't hit it every time because, well, you wouldn't be human if you did.
Right. And I would hope that, you know, the people that give it a fair chance enjoy it. I mean, it'll bring a little bit of laughter. It's only 11 minutes of your life. Even if it's terrible, it's only 11 minutes of your life.
I think the overwhelming response to a TV show has been very positive.
Yeah, very positive.
If the views haven't already shown that already, as you mentioned earlier, how the demographic and the target audience has been very, very successful so far.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I mean, it's not. It doesn't have the best time slot, and even with that time slot, it's doing very nicely here in America. And I know it's doing really well in France, and hopefully, you know, they're going to start rolling it out in 2015 for other territories. I'm looking forward to seeing how people in other territories respond to it. But I'm trying. It's a lot of work. It's a 7-day-a-week job, really, to make this show the best it can be. And I'm trying my best. And we have these great actors, and we have great writers working with us. And, you know, the production team in France, I think, does a fantastic job. And we're doing this show that I think, despite budgetary concerns and despite a lot of things going against us, we're putting out a product that looks like it costs a lot more than it costs. And is more entertaining, hopefully, than the average show.
I would agree. Yeah. It's a good show.
I haven't really seen anyone that has hated the show. It's been a very, very small crowd.
And YouTube is full of people.
Yes, people of YouTube. Obviously, feel free to put your comments. Yeah, first of all, hi. Hi, if you've just stumbled in after 2 hours, then put your comments in with what you know your think your best episode was, what your best moments and everything. Because obviously Bill is reading them. If you don't like Sonic Boom as a whole, why are you still listening at this point? Because goodness me, you must have something else better to do with your life.
Because everyone loves to hear your voice, Kevin.
Everyone except one person. There's two people technically, if you can count me. There's put your comments down, and we'll and obviously we read them, and Bill reads them. So it's
I
good
do read
feedback.
them. I comment on them.
Good,
I do like the feedback, even if you don't like something. I like the feedback. It doesn't have to be positive. It just has to be polite.
Constructive criticism, guys. If you've been any part of the Sonic fan base for the last 5 years or so, you should know that constructive criticism of things in Sonic does go back, and things are actually worked on, and is borne in mind for the rest of the stuff coming on.
And I would. It doesn't even have to be constructive criticism. It only has to be polite. It doesn't have to be hateful. If you don't like something, that's fine. You don't even have to say, here's a good way to fix it, or you really just say what you got to say. But that tinge of anger that some people have just makes me not even read it and not want to
turn off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's one thing to have a say in something, but it's another to express it in a respectful way.
And for the younger members of our audience, that's how life works. Funnily enough, if you say something and you say it politely, it's more likely to be taken on board, and an actual discussion develop.
Yeah. Because I'm not going out there saying this show is perfect and everyone who disagrees is wrong. As I said a little bit earlier, there are issues with each episode that I have. I know these episodes are not all perfect, and I know some are better than others. So it's no surprise when you dislike one or you like one more. That's not an issue. I have the same feelings about shows I like and about the shows I'm working on. But as long as you're nice about it, I'm perfectly willing to listen. I'm perfectly willing to interact with you.
I've been very impressed with you. I mean, the writers as well, but with this show, how engaging you have been with the audience, and because people put out products with all different things, and you never usually get that other side to actually respond. And I think the audience is aware that you are watching, you are seeing what the feedback is. I've been impressed. I think it's just nice to have that sort of interaction back and forth.
Absolutely.
Well, I started out as a comedian. And so the audience response is very important to me, because I'm here to entertain an audience.
Yep.
If you go on stage and you tell your jokes and no one's laughing, you need to regroup. And so it's the same thing here. This is not avant-garde. This is not the audience is too stupid to understand this great thing I'm doing. This is for the audience. This show and the comedy in it is to make the audience laugh. So I really want the reaction. The reason I'm so engaged is because I think it's a two-way street, and I like your reaction and the audience's reaction, and I'd like to be able to respond as well.
Absolutely.
That's a very interesting idea, and that, of course, when you make this, and indeed when you're making the first season, you don't kind of have any of that. So it's interesting, to try and sort of maybe throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Is there a lot of sort of Thank you, Donnie. So how much sort of guesswork do you think it would take to think, okay, this is good, let's get it out there, kind of thing?
I'm not quite sure I understand the question. You mean the idea that because for the 2 years we were doing this before it aired, or the year and a half, we didn't have response, it was just our best guess?
Yeah, exactly.
That's where it comes down to my experience and my instincts and my sense of humor. This show, for me, I've been on a lot of shows, and Drawn Together had my voice in it a lot. Not as an actor, but although I did do a couple of parts in it. My point of view. It had Matt and Dave's point of view a lot, and it had my point of view a lot. That said, I would say Sonic, my voice comes through almost more than any other show I've ever worked on. So a lot of this really is just all the constraints, and with all the input of the writers and Evan, Evan's the guy who went to Sega and made this whole thing happen, and eventually met and hired me. So Evan's the guy who got this whole ball rolling, And he and I work very closely. He and I always do the final rewrite together. He and I always do the final edit together. So when I say it's my voice, I'm not discounting his input. It's just that as the person who's actually writing the words a lot of the time, my voice comes through very strongly.
So there we go, everybody.
Yeah, so Sonic Boom is a real important pet project to me. It's a real important, I really care a great deal about it, and I care about making it right.
And you can really see how much
that comes across just the way you talk about it.
And beforehand, we're talking not just in the show, but before that, in all your other communications with everybody, basically, in the terms of the community. I think it's great. It comes across very well.
So I guess to answer your question, a lot of it is just gut instinct. Which joke makes me laugh in the writers' room? Not that we have a big writers' room here, but when Alan and Greg come over and the three of us are kicking around ideas, what makes me laugh? And then when Evan and I do the final rewrite, a lot of times Evan will say, "I don't like this joke," and then I'll just, like a comedian, I'll just pitch jokes until I make him laugh, and then that one goes in. And sometimes in his pass, he'll have a joke that he put in as well. But he handles more of the day-to-day business stuff. He's more this international businessman, and I'm just this, schmuck at my typewriter. But the two of us together kind of bring this show and this voice out there.
You're the dynamic duo.
Yeah, fantastic. It clearly works, and long may it continue, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, thank you. Me too.
Amen.
Right.
Yep.
So, everybody, I think we've come to the end of today's broadcast. Thank you very much, Bill, for coming on and joining us.
You're quite welcome. Before we go, let me just plug next week's show.
Yes, please do.
Written by Dan Milano, who, if you like Greg the Bunny or Warren the Ape, he was the creator and star of that show. And he wrote an episode for us because I worked with him a great deal. It's a very funny episode. It introduces an interesting new concept to our world and takes characters that we've seen before and puts them in a new situation. So, and it's a situation that now that we've established this thing, is going to come back a bunch of times in future episodes.
It's very cool.
It's a bit of a game changer episode. Excellent.
Not so much a game changer, but it's this new thing that, I guess it's How to Succeed in Evil. It's about an evil society that exists in this world that, that's beyond Eggman and beyond anything else. It's this group of evildoers.
It's the Evil Club.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
I'm actually looking at the Sonic Boom episode listings from Zap2It right now, and they actually do list episodes and stuff usually within a few weeks in advance, and they actually do have How to Succeed in Evil and Don't Judge Me's plot synopsis right there. So you can actually find out what the synopsis for certain episodes are just by looking there.
But hasn't that one been semi-unreliable, since some of the episodes that get put up and end up getting taken down because they're not going to be aired in that order?
They usually make adjustments. Yeah.
Right, they make changes, but once it airs in France, I guess someone translates it and puts it up there, and then eventually. So if it's up there, I will say that it's the Lightning Bolt Society is a group of villains that mistake Tails for an evildoer and want him to join their organization.
Yep.
I would say that was a pretty easy mistake to make.
Curse you, Tails!
We all know Tails is the real serious villain here.
Yes, so they made this mistake, and it includes several characters who we've seen be evil in past episodes, and we now find out they're all members of this.
It's gonna be good.
Something for you to look forward to, guys. So
I think this will be a good one, and it was courtesy of Dan Milano. It was his idea, and I think it's a good one.
So yes, tune in next week to find out what goes on in that episode, and then tune in to us to find out what we thought of it. Thanks again to Bill for coming in.
My pleasure.
Absolutely.
I had a great time.
Yeah,
Where can people find you, Bill?
Yeah.
Online.
Where can they find me? That's at Bill Freiberger is my Twitter account. That's really the only place you can find me. Otherwise, I'm working on Sonic 7 days a week.
Or in our comment section below, if you're lucky.
Or in the comment section below. But yes, let's get at Bill Freiberger. I need a few more followers so I can
get following people.
Yeah.
It'll just be pretty much splashed across the entirety of the pre and post show videos. I think they were.
You just see you just see graphical images of a rave going on. You just see.
Bill. Your name will be in lights, Bill. It'll be
okay.
All right,
very good. Get some followers.
Absolutely. So yeah, I've really enjoyed this. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, I found it fantastic.
I found it very, very interesting indeed. Also, but say again, we're back next week with our thoughts on that episode coming up. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and subscribe to /follow at Bill Freiberger.
And rave.
And
I'm
of course,
looking forward also to hearing all the stuff I missed when Skype went out.
Yes.
So I'm still gonna. I'll have to listen to this too. I thought I wouldn't have to listen this week, but now I do because I missed so much stuff.
And buy Sonic Boom issue 5
because we tell you to.
Because we tell you to, yes.
And if you're in Los Angeles, come by Earth 2 Comics in Sherman Oaks. I'm doing a signing on the Saturday after. I think it's the 14th. Oh. March 14th. I will be doing a signing.
There we go. Opportunity to meet the man himself.
Yep.
Get something signed. Have a nice chat about things. So yeah, thanks very much, guys. We'll see you then. Bye.
Take care,
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.